Good afternoon and welcome. We still have people joining us, so we'll get started in just a few minutes. We decided to use cameras today so that we could see you, and we're really happy to take questions. So you'll see there's a little question area. Please add those questions because we know you got them and we want to be able to answer them. I've always wanted to answer questions in a group format so that everybody has the benefit of hearing the answer rather than doing that privately one-on-one. So I think people are still coming on. Let's see if we have any questions there yet. We put the ones that came in already on the slides. All right, so we'll go ahead and get started. Fred, welcome.
Thank you. How are you?
Great. Excited to talk about this project. I know a lot of people are very excited about it, so we wanted to answer some questions that we got. This is Ridgewater LLC, and this is our investor Q&A. This is on one of Fred's newest projects in Oregon, which, you know, he looks at a lot of projects and rejects most of them. The prices have been so high over the past few years, people not willing to negotiate, but that's changed now, right, Fred?
It's changing now. I think people are still a little unsettled. It looks like the market is going to turn around though shortly, so we've got to get whatever we can do done now.
Yes. All right, so let's see if I can move to the next slide. Okay, again, this presentation is, first of all, not a solicitation or an offer to purchase securities. That offer is only made through the PPM, which you can find at growdevelopments.com. When you go there, you'll see this project, and it's Ridgewater, and you'll be able to download the PPM there. If you have any issues with that, you can reach out to syndications at growdevelopments.com. Again, these strategies may or may not work for you. Always speak with your CPA or attorney to make sure that it makes sense for you. Everybody's using different money from different places, whether it's IRA funds or wherever. And again, just having your CPA make sure you understand your tax consequences is really important. And then past performance is no guarantee of future results. Even though we'll be talking about some of the deals we've done in the past and the way things have gone, the future is unknown, but we try to mitigate as much of that risk as possible. And you'll see both Fred and I don't really want to take on risk at this stage in our life. So we're looking always for deals that have lower risk or where the risk can be mitigated. Okay. So today's agenda, meeting the team, why Klamath Falls, we'll go over the business plan, we'll answer how to subscribe, and then the questions. And I'm sorry to say that this is open to accredited investors only. This is an SEC ruling. You only need to meet the criteria for one of these, either having a net worth of over $1 million, excluding your primary residence, or having an income of over $200,000 or $300,000 with a spouse in each of the prior 2 years, and you expect the same year this year, or investment professionals in good standing with a Series 7, Series 65, or Series 82. This would allow you to participate in this as a accredited investor. So about Fred, many of you know him. We have been partners for almost 14 years on different projects. I met Fred in 2009. He brought an insanely fantastic deal. We'll go over those deals in just a bit. That was sort of my debut into syndicating. I wish I had just kind of done all my projects with Fred and nothing else. He has over 45 years experience in real estate development and construction and many different product types. He's an engineering graduate at Michigan State and experience, again, like business, including acquisition, entitlement, design, construction, and finance. So here's just some of the projects we did back in 2010 was Riverscape in Portland, Oregon. The loan on that was about $13 million. The amount of money I think you said already invested was about $12 million. And you were able to negotiate that we purchased that for $3 million total.
It wasn't even really a negotiation. The FDIC had taken over the bank that had the loan, and the developer had gone under. So they were looking for bids. We submitted a $3 million bid and we were off and running. There was, as you recall, there was substantial improvements on the site. We just went in, mitigated for any of the damage that had taken place over the last couple of years, finished them off and turned around and sold them. So it was quick and we made a nice profit on that.
Yeah, as I recall, investors made about a 22% IRR or so, but you know, it's different for everyone depending on when they put their money in. Cannon Ranch 1B, that was a commercial project in Tampa. Investors did really well on that one. That was just kind of a land hold. Until
that was another opportunity buy.
Yeah.
If you recall, it was a property that I had owned and sold in 2004 for $6 million. We bought it back from the bank for, I'm going to say, what, $300,000 or something. I can't recall right now, but
it was very much less. So you'd sold it, and that person went into bankruptcy, and project went.
Bad times, obviously, in 2006, but the good times to buy property is during the down market.
Yeah, and then Dublin Crossings was a really cool one where you did an option on an office building, an old office building outside of Dublin. The plan was to re-entitle it to residential and build homes there because there was a new city center coming in that area. We had to you tied up the property for $10 million, but we only needed an option payment of about $1 million. I raised
not even that. The money we raised, I think, was only like $1.3 million, wasn't it?
Yeah, and that was for all the entitlement. And
that was the option payment, the entitlement work and everything. And then, of course, we turned around and sold it to Pulte Homes for around $20 million. So after we closed on the property, it was still a grand profit, I think, of about $8 or $9 million.
Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah, 10 million closing cost, or the close was 10 million, sold for 20 in just a few years. That was a home run. And the project we're going to be talking about today is somewhat similar to that. Before we get to it, I know there's some people who just have some questions and they've already seen the presentation, so we'll just get to those questions if you don't mind. It said, hi Fred, you said last time you only paid for lots as houses. We only pay for lots as houses are sold. So are investor funds held in an account only to draw on when needed? And if so, what is the risk to investors in this project? And in other words, can we lose our principal?
The risk in this project is very low. And I say that because just about all of the money is going into the construction of the homes. Immediately, once we fund this project, we will pour 18 foundations. That's the first 18 homes we're going to build. Plus, we'll pour 4 more for the model home. So we'll have money on the ground immediately, and that money is all used to build. As we sell those homes, each home has a profit. We will not be paying for the lot, obviously, until we close on it, sell to a third-party buyer, and then we turn right around and take the profit and give it back to the investor. So 6 months from the day we start pouring foundations, we will have sales and we will start paying investors back on this investment. The risk is very low. We have a whole new market coming into the area. We have 300 potential buyers, with the Air Force expanding its fleet of planes from the F-15 to the F-35. It's a Top Gun training base, and they need housing.
And the bottom line is neither of us are in the mood to take on risk. So you turn down a lot of projects for that reason. This one, we don't have to purchase the land or develop it or put in the roads or the utilities. That's already done. We don't have to take on that risk. I don't have to raise $10 million for it. So it's already been done. We only pay for the lots once a buyer comes to buy and is about to close.
It's an exceptional opportunity. I mean, this is a story of a farmer that bought the land in 2008, didn't really know what to do with it. It was a failed developer who was also a farmer. And so he bought it cheap, but there's not really a demand for lots up there. People want to buy houses, and there just aren't any real builders up there. The builders that are up there do onesie twosies. And so we'll be the first and only production builder in Klamath Falls.
Which is similar to when we went to Bozeman. There were really very few other builders, not much competition.
And it's pretty much the same in Bozeman. We're going up, there's one production builder that came up from, I think, San Diego. I think it's Wilson Homes or Williams Homes. And, but they're paying a lot more for their land than we paid. And in order for them to be competitive, what they've decided to do is they build a cheaper house. So they're selling a cheaper product than we sell, and it's more entry-level product.
Okay, and let's see. Are there companies that will do an accredited investor certification? Yes, you can go to verifyinvestor.com. They will, you put in your information and they will give you the certification letter that we need. We just need a third party to verify that you're accredited. And that could be your CPA, that could be a financial planner, or a company like verifyinvestor.com. Will there be an HOA fee for the homeowner?
There is a very small HOA fee. The roads are private and it is a gated community, but that's all. And so it's a modest, I think it's less than $50 a month.
Okay. All right, so again, here's some pictures of some of the projects we've done. This Portland one, it kind of, it looked like this from the outside when we acquired it for $3 million. It was over 20 million into it when we took it. The interior had to be finished, and so that took a few years, and we sold these townhomes in the middle of the recession. I mean, back when they were, giving incentives to get people to buy homes. We couldn't even find a lender, and you found one, that gave a great rate. It was a tough time, but it was still over a 20% return to investors.
And typically, Kathy, as you know, I don't like to leverage into projects. In that particular case, we raised the $3 million to close on the land, and we got a loan, a construction loan, to do the development. And you're right, as it turned out, it was about a 30% IRR on that particular project, primarily because we leveraged it. Typically, I don't do that because we don't want to take on any risk whatsoever with our investor money. So we typically overraise and don't get loans unless we see a way that we can utilize it to get investor money back faster while we do another phase.
Yeah. Okay. Be more Bates Stringer Reno, Quest Reno, that's right off of 80. If you drive up there, you see that project. Prescott Ranch is in Bozeman, just outside of Bozeman and Belgrade. That project's doing great, beautiful. One of our employees lives in Bozeman, and she knows it well and has friends who've bought there. Little Lane is more challenged, is probably the one that you've been the most challenged with, but it's coming around.
Well, again, I overestimated, I think, Carson City. In Bozeman, we're able to sell that product. It's our best-selling product. In Carson City, it appears that it was a little too sophisticated for the marketplace. We've changed our marketing and we're starting to pick up. We're enticing buyers from the Bay Area, California, to come to Carson City, look at this product, and they're finding that they can buy a product that if it was in North or South Shore Tahoe, you would be paying about $3 million for. They can buy it someplace between 500 and 700,000, depending on the model.
And Carson City's so cute. It's the state capital. The capital's walking distance. Great little restaurant, darling downtown. I think people just need to go up there and see it. They could be driving distance from California. They can have the Nevada no state income tax and live in a darling town and be super close to Tahoe. So yeah, I think you hired a new sales team that is going to market more to California. Okay. So in this project, I may have skipped a slide by accident. Yep. Did I skip another one? No. Okay, so this one, Klamath Falls, you could see it there on the map. just inland east of Ashland and Medford, just over the border of California and Shasta. It's located, 20 minutes north of California. People are moving there because of low cost of living and available jobs in growing sectors such as healthcare, education, and military. And of course, it's just beautiful with the Cascade Mountains, high desert, waterways, and Crater Lake not too far away. It's a boating, hunting, fishing, hiking, and camping destination.
And this is our buyer profile right now. We're selling most of our houses like in Nevada, in Montana. It'll be this way in Oregon. People moving out of California, coming in with lots of cash. Our buyers are typically all cash buyers, not even looking at loans. So interest rates don't affect that many of them.
As you mentioned, one of the major employers is Kingsley Field Air National Guard, home to the 270 Air Traffic Control Squadron and 173rd Fighter Wing of the Oregon Air National Guard. The squadron currently flies the F-15 and is scheduled to get the new F-35.
They're going to get the new F-35, and they're bringing in an additional about 300 new pilots to train and trainers to fly that F-35. So I think we'll have a rather robust market just from the Air Force, let alone the people moving into that area.
So the business plan is like many of the others we've done together, build high-end homes to sell to the retail buyers. This one is cool, kind of like the double-in-one, lowering the risk because it's an option agreement with the seller to purchase 156 finished lots. So we're not taking on that developer risk, which many of you know is a risk, over the next 5 years. But we don't pay for those lots until the home is in contract and about to close. We have a deal, $60,000 per lot for the first 139 paid at the time the homes are sold. The last 17 lots will then be signed over to us in consideration for the $1 million, $20,000 option payment. The preferred return is 12.5% to investors, profit split 25% to investors, time frame about 5 years, but capital beginning to be returned to investors in 2025 pretty quickly.
Well, capital will be returned in 2024, 6 months from the day we start pouring foundations. So if we pour foundations in March or sooner, 6 months later, we will have houses to close on, and we can start giving profits back right away because we don't have to turn it back into the project. We have enough money to complete all of our starts.
Yeah, I said 2025 just because if it happens in 2024, then great.
That's fine.
Yeah, but I think it will. All right, will there be Oregon state income tax payable on the income? Do you know?
There would be. I think Oregon has income tax. They do not have a sales tax. So again, that's another reason why people like moving up there. They can buy their car, and if it's $90,000, it's $90,000, no 10% sales tax.
Wow. Okay, somebody said I asked the following question because I was too late to get an answer last time. My question was more about the insurability of new homes by the buyer. If home buyers can't get insurance or insurance is too expensive, then it will likely have a negative impact on sales. That's the problem we're seeing in California.
We've already, of course, when we tie up any land or going to do any work, we go ahead and we put our insurance on it. And at the same time, we checked with our carrier, and they are a broker, and they checked with about a dozen carriers. None of them have anything that would prevent them from doing business in Oregon. And I say that because all of them had a prohibition on doing insurance in California.
Yes, we are feeling it. You were wise to move out, Fred. Oh, love it here though. All right, so this is beautiful Klamath Falls.
That's the property. And I mean, when we first looked at the property, we were stunned. These roads wind through the property undulates, gently rolling hills. It's all tree line. It's like you're building in a wilderness. Yes, we have trees to remove before we build a house, but we've got a guy that, an agreement with a guy that they will come in, cut down the trees for the wood, remove the trees and stumps and create our pad for us. And they're doing it all for the wood. So yes, very favorable.
It's beautiful, and pictures often don't tell the whole story. Beautiful. And these are homes. So the current landowner has sold some lots, and these are the homes that have been built.
Yeah, he sells lots, but the matter of fact, he's got a half a dozen lots in there that he's sold, and these people can't even find a builder to build their home. They're coming to us asking if we could build a home, and of course, we can't really build their home. We don't build homes for people. We only do spec homes for ourselves and sell them out to ultimate buyers. Yeah, it's beautiful. It's even more beautiful than that. I mean, to stand there, it was awesome.
Yeah, and it's always different. Are these some of the lots, the views from the lots?
Yeah, lots will be there overlooking we're standing on a road, which those are lots going down to the lake or down towards the lake. We're actually set back from the lake a little bit. We don't go right to the lake. This is back looking out towards the entry. There is the entry right there. It's a gated community. There's a lake and little waterfalls at the entry, monumentation, and we come right off a nice new highway. It's perfect.
There's the town.
Yeah, the downtown area is on the right, and then you saw where we were in relationship to it. And of course, this is a lot. Somebody in our last webinar asked, yeah, there's our lots off to the left there, Ridgewater property, and then you can see the downtown area. So we go out to the highway and then back up into town. So it's probably about 2.5 miles, 3 miles to town. And yet we are in the city limits. Somebody asked the difference between the red lots and the black lots, and I don't know that there's any difference. Maybe they're view lots. I just don't know offhand.
Okay. Most of the comps that around are either not finished or needed wells, septic, were accessed by dirt roads, or they were small lots in the city.
When we went to look at other finished lots, there were lots that were $200,000 that didn't compare with this, and then there were a lot of scrubby little lots that onesie twosies nobody would want to buy. Some of them are on gravel roads. Most of them didn't have water or sewer, so you'd have to do your own well and septic tank. So there's nothing to compare with this up there. There was one, I'm trying to think the name of it. I want to say Palomino or something, but there was another development up there, of small standard size lots that was quite nice, and they're doing well. So I think this has got to be the best development in the whole area. It's one of the best developments I've ever seen, actually. So, and our price, like I say, we're paying $60,000 a lot. We don't pay for those lots until such time as we sell to a third-party buyer. And the finishing costs, if we had to buy this property, and let's say we bought raw land, and it came out to $25,000 to $50,000 a lot, and then to finish them off at $95,000 to $100,000 a lot, we'd be in these lots $150,000. We're in them $60,000 and no real cash up other than keep enough money in the account to pay for 2 or 3 of them at any one time, and then immediately we close out to a third-party buyer, and so we have that money back.
Yeah, so right off the bat, there's discount on these, there's equity because of the comparable lots would be more. And we don't have to take all that risk.
We're really overfunded on this project, Kathy. We have enough money to go ahead and build these houses out complete and sell them. So we will be, like I say, the second we sell a house, every month we'll be distributing cash back to the buyer, and that'll start 6 months after we start our construction.
Somebody asked, is there any info about the feud regarding the Klamath River and water rights?
We have all the water rights we need for these lots. We're getting city water and sewer, so I don't know anything more about that. I do know that, and somebody may have seen where by they're taking out 4 dams, they're all below this dam. There are 2 dams below this dam that they start taking out 4 dams down into California and the Klamath River, but it has nothing, it won't affect this lake or anything.
Somebody wanted to know if there would be any lots below this development closer to the lake that would block the view.
No, there's not. As you saw from that one picture up in the top, it runs down to the lake. So our lakeside lots are all view lots.
Okay. So the plan is to build, again, higher end homes with premium finishes for high end buyers. Just like at the Bozeman project, there are no national builders in the area. We're the only production builder. We plan to build a revised and improved version of the homes we're building on the 6,000 square foot lots at the Prescott Ranch in Montana. You can look up that website on those homes, Prescott Ranch in Montana. How's that project doing?
Well, Kathy, as you know, when we opened up, we started selling about 6 homes a month, and we continued on until sometime during COVID when we started having supply line difficulties. We had to cut down to about 3 homes a month. We're back up doing 4 homes a month, and we're moving.
Yeah.
What's that?
Simply because you couldn't get the materials to build them. It wasn't lack of demand.
And we still have some problems in that regard, but we're starting 5 homes a month now, and we hope to get back to 6 homes a month. But yeah, we can sell everything we can build up there. And again, most of our buyers are, well, 50% of them are better coming from out of state, a lot of them from California. Most of them are cash buyers. And I think that we see that even in Carson City, we see most of our buyers are cash buyers coming out of California. And I think that's going to be the buyer profile for this project, with the exception of, like I say, there's about 300 new military moving on to the base up there over the next few years. So we'll be building for them too.
So thank you, Kevin Costner, for Yellowstone, which came out right after we got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when you first brought this product, we're like, Montana, where is that?
But like Bozeman, we're the only production builder up there. Just like Bozeman, we have to teach these people how to do it. They come to us and they build their first bid is like, we're doing a one-off house. We say, no, you never leave the project. You get a journeyman and a helper, and if you're an electrician, and you never leave the project. You just go from house to house to house to house. So our bids are starting to come down a little now that we're educating them.
Great. Whoop. Okay. Have my mouse in the wrong place. These are
product types, and one of the real advantages, we've got a tried and proven product that we improved on, and I mean substantial improvements over what we had in Bozeman. And in Bozeman, with these improvements, we're starting to offer this improved product up there. However, because of the bigger lots, we're able to offer 3-car garages. In addition to that, we can do a freestanding garage for you. So if you have an RV and you want to put it off to the right or something like that, we can do that. And we can do an accessory dwelling unit above that garage. So there's a lot of options that we can offer on this particular product and project.
great. And it's not a fast growing market. Like you said, 80 to 120 home building permits are pulled per year. Somebody wanted to know, can you do construction during the winter there?
Yes, just like in Bozeman, we do it all year long. As a matter of fact, it's a much milder climate than Bozeman is. So yes, we will be doing construction throughout the year.
Okay. So there's the comps are, maybe not the average home price is not as high as what we'll be selling. So is that an issue?
Well, if you remember when we went up to Bozeman, the comparable market in our area was about 280,000, and our homes were starting then in the just high fives, I'll say. Because of us, and our prices have now raised where I think our low is about 550, our high is about 800,000. We've pulled the average sales price up to just under $500,000, about $480,000 in that marketplace. But the market was only held down because they just didn't have any other product to sell. And that's the case here in Klamath Falls. Take a house like the one you're looking at right now. They build those kind of houses up there, but they only build a few of them. They sell them before they're even finished. They don't have a model complex. These builders can only do about one a year. So the 8 or 10 builders that they have up there are only doing very few houses. And therein lies the problem. And I think we are the solution to the problem. So yes, our home will come out every bit as good as that. And our floor plans are much more efficient floor plans than these. I think our elevations and the flex space that we provide do everything just about any buyer wants or needs. We believe that the comps, like I say, were nondescript. They had basically plain Jane finishes and still sold for more than what we'd be selling our houses for.
So the minimum investment is 1 unit, which is $50,000. The total we're raising is 10 million. Minimum raise is 4 million with the funding deadline of December 20th. Offering close date is April 9th, and again, accredited investors only. Use of proceeds, investor funds will be used primarily to build out the model, as you explained, to the model complex, so there'll be several, to finance the construction of the initial 18 houses on the property, and to pay costs associated with purchase price and other fees and expenses due to the option. Costs associated with setting up maintenance and governance of the company and offering expenses, the design, architectural, and engineering of the houses, construction of the model home complexes, and the initial homes for sale to the public. And of course, marketing and sale of those homes. Okay. So here's the analysis from the PPM to kind of show number of units. This can be confusing, but this is the different type of property. So 39.
Yeah, we're going to do 39 of our plan 1, which averages about 1,800 square feet. 39 of the plan 2, which is about, this is what we actually did our estimates on. Some of these square footages are going to be skewed. If they look through the plans, they'll see they don't match up exactly because we have improved the floor plans and elevations some. 39 of the plan 3 and 39 of the plan 4, so a total of 156 homes we will be building. The total square footage is 364,299 square feet. These are our direct building costs. Now, when I put these direct building costs in, these are higher than anything we're paying right now. Our building costs are $158 a square foot for the plan 1, $152 a foot for the plan 2, $144 for the plan 3, and $138 for the plan 4. And that's about $20 a foot more than we actually are building for in Bozeman. But that was the contingency that we threw into this to see if it could survive. And of course it survived the cut, and we're under contract for it. So yes.
And here's the different costs for the building costs.
I've highlighted the land cost. We're paying $10,000, or $60,000 a lot. You'll notice that I have it in there at $63,205. There's a premium that is paid to me up front, and I say this in full disclosure that this isn't a money-making grab or anything on my part. I'm trying to get back some of the due diligence costs that I put into these projects. Like Kathy and I were talking before, I actually close on about 1 in 10. 4 or 5 out of the 10 we dismiss rather quickly, but half a dozen of them we go ahead and invest substantial amounts of money into them, only to find out that they're not going to work. In this particular case, this one works, and so The 63,000 is the premium that I'm putting the land into the venture at.
Okay.
The
Quick
3,000 a lot, yeah.
Someone wanted to know the pilots who are going to be training at Kingsley Field, will it be there for longer assignments? So is it reasonable that they would move their families and want to buy, or they just be renters?
Now, these are Top Gun pilots, and they will be coming and going, but they're all officers. The ones that are really going to be there for the long term are the trainers, the new trainers they're bringing in. And they're all officers.
Okay, here's the sales commissions, sales and marketing. And then down here, you'll see construction on-site overhead, 3%, 2% to BPR, and that's Bates Properties and Grow. And there's the net profit.
Yes, and so when investors ask if there's how conservative this is, you can see there's little chance of them losing any money. In other words, this thing is built out so that A, they get their dollars back first, then they get their preferred return back, and then there's $17 million worth of profit to be split.
That's pretty robust. Okay, so again, 12.5% preferred return plus an additional 25% profit.
Right.
Okay, estimated timeline. We've already started raising capital, had a great response from the first webinar. Funding minimum is December 20th. We'll begin building in January and hold for 5 years. This is the plan. Start returning capital in late 2024, early 2025.
Yes, and like I said, the real return of capital will be 6 months after we pour our first foundation, which will be January, February, March, someplace in there.
So again, we already talked about this, but proceeds from early home sales will be reinvested to finance the construction of additional homes. Distribution.
Well, that particular line item was taken from other projects that.
Yeah, it's not the, yeah. That's good.
Because yes, we will take the building costs and we will move it into the next home, but each home, the profit segment of it, we won't be reinvesting like we usually do. It will be going back immediately to our investors as a preferred or as a return of capital.
So first to the members until they receive their return of capital, then to the investors until they've received their annual non-compounded return of 12.5%. That's per year that your capital is tied up. The 12%, a lot of people think it's 12% total, but it's per year for your tied up capital. Finally, additional distributable cash is available. Investor members will receive 25%. Grow developments receiving 12.5%, and the general contractor also receiving 12%, and founding member 50%. Fees, Bates Properties Reno, managed by Fred Bates Jr. This is a question we get a lot. Is there a continuity plan? And yes, as healthy and young as Fred Bates is, he also has his son who's younger and his family who are part of it's a family-run business, and me.
Yeah, Fred Jr., he's been in the business since he was 18 years old. He worked pounding nails when he was about 13, 14 years old. As soon as he started college, he would come back every summer, and one year he would do flat work, the next year he'd do foundations, and next year he was framing. Then he got into finish work, then he started his own framing company. So he's been at it. He's now 56 years old and been at it, like I say, since the time he was probably 15, 16.
Yeah. Okay, so managers will be reimbursed all expenses, including professional fees, legal fees. Bates Property Reno will receive an assignment fee of $500,000 for assigning the option to the company. Grow Management will receive $50,000 for startup fees. That is for our due diligence, our legal, and so forth. Bates Properties Reno and Grow Management will receive a management fee capped at 2% of gross revenue. They may receive monthly advances of this fee prior to the sale of homes. Grow Management will receive $1,000 per home lot sold. Fred Bates Jr. will receive a monthly fee to cover construction and site overhead, capped at 3%.
That's probably wrong. They say Fred Bates Jr. It's Bates Homes. That's his whole company. And of course, that fee covers all of their overhead and operating costs.
Grow Management or affiliate receives $1,000 per subscription agreement for necessary paperwork. And BPR Grow Developments and Fred Bates Jr. also receive profit shares, as we discussed. All right, potential risks. As we said earlier, I know you've really worked hard to mitigate those risks, but risks are always there.
And these are all fair. I mean, supply line chain issues, we experienced that during COVID. We're still experiencing on a much smaller scale now. Construction delays, we haven't had too many, but we have had projects that have had delays. And now I'll take you back to Great Stringer Reno, our Argos project. We lost almost a year and a half due to a bad winter, and our people that were coming in to put the roads in were so backlogged that they couldn't even get us that summer after the big snowstorm. So there are construction delays. Enforcement of the option agreement, our attorneys have looked it over, and there's nothing this guy can really do. The option agreement is ironclad. If he wanted to do something, and I can't imagine that, he could be subject to lose a lot of money. So I just can't imagine that. Changing economic conditions, I think you and I, Kathy, have been around long enough to know that's always a possibility. We try to buy in the low market, and hopefully the market gets better. But even if it stays the way it is, we think we do just fine. Most of our projects, we saw good appreciation over the years. A liquid investment, this one here, we're overfunding, so I don't think that's going to be the case. Change in market conditions, such as homes do not sell quickly as anticipated. It's always a possibility, but it doesn't mean that you're not going to achieve your results. If it takes longer, we have to pay you a preferred return longer, and that comes out of the profit share. And of course, Kathy and I are the lion's portion of the profit share, so we make less, that's all. Lack of qualified buyers, such as homes do not sell as quickly as anticipated, I mean, basically the same thing. Reliance on key personnel, and of course, I think we have it pretty well backed up.
Okay, and reporting, we will be reporting on construction progress, contract sales, status of development, quarterly unaudited financial statements, information reasonably necessary for the prep of tax returns, including Schedule K-1s, and other such periodic reporting as provided for in the operating agreement. All right, so next steps are go to the Invest Next investor portal. Visit growdevelopments.com if you're not sure how to get there, and then click on the Invest tab, and that'll take you to Invest Next, which is our portal. If you have any questions on how to find the documents, just reach out to Ann or Kathy. They've been hand-holding investors who maybe are doing this for the first time. You can reach them at syndications@growdevelopments.com. Filling out that paperwork can be a little daunting if it's your first time, so you may just want their help. But again, you can download all that at the Invest Next site. Fred, Lenora said, it's good to see you here with a new project for us, so thank you.
Great.
Yeah, like I said, we wish you'd done all of them. All right, well, thank you all for, with California, here, yes, we've got questions, so we've already answered that. What is the exit strategy if the project does not meet expectations? You kind of went over that, but.
Yes, I mean, we'll know early on probably if the project isn't going to meet expectations, but in all projects, we have two strategies. One is for example, we're going slow in Little Lane. We think we've got it turned around now, but it's interesting. We have had people come and see if we want to sell the whole project. I mean, there is demand for projects still, but we don't think that's necessary. We're hitting our margins on every home sold. We're having some appreciation, so we're making maybe a little bit over what our projections were. In this particular case, for example, Kathy, all of our money is going in primarily to build the models in the first 18 homes. If we sold those 22 homes, there would be a profit of over $2.2 million. So we would be in a position to give all the investors all of their money back. And that's the probably worst case scenario. I think anything else, if we start selling through this and get a little way through and the market goes blank, there's a profit picture in store. So I don't think there's any, we've never been in a market where we can't sell homes. Even in 2008, 9, 10, we were able to sell homes. There's buyers for homes all the time. They just go a little bit slower.
Now we know it's like 30% or more of home buyers today are all cash, and many of them baby boomers who hold the majority of the wealth. Many have already paid off their homes, so they just maybe want to sell that and you know, buy their retirement home by a lake. So there's still a lot of cash buyers out there.
Right. Think about this. I mean, if you were going to buy a home, there's hardly any resales on the market.
Yeah.
And everything that's on the market is overpriced. People love buying new homes, and they love buying at a fair price. And ours are always below market value.
And by a lake doesn't hurt either.
Right.
Do I need to get another accreditation verification if I invested with Fred before? If it's been a while, you do, simply because your situation may have changed. One of the rules is that you earned, if you go, it depends on which rule, but we need to know that you still have that $1 million net worth, or that you still earn that $200,000 a year for the last 2 years and expect to. So it is, yes, required. I apologize for that. Not if you just did it, you know, 6 months ago or whatever, that would still apply. What is the IRR for this investment?
I haven't done the IRR for the investment. It's totally, this is probably unique because, like I say, usually we hold the money much longer. And so the preferred return on a typical project would be much higher because we hold all of the equity longer. In this particular case, we start giving it back, like I say, 6 months after we pour the first foundation. And so I haven't really figured the IRR on this, but like I say, you're getting 12.5% preferred return and 25% of the profits.
Yeah, so we expect it to be well over 12.5%.
I mean, they'll have half their money back in 2.5 years, and all of it back plus the preferred return and profit share in 5 years. So.
Mm-hmm. And again, that preferred return is per year that your money's tied up. Okay. To whom should the accreditation letter be addressed? My accountant needs a name and address. Ooh, If Ann or K-Mac's listening, let me know. I'm not actually sure. But you can reach out to syndications at Real Wealth to find out. Okay, well, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Fred, again, for bringing us this project. We love working with you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
All right, and thank you all for joining me. Again, you can send your questions to syndications at Real Wealth, especially if it pertains to like getting on InvestNext or getting the documentation. Hopefully we'll get a tour up there. Fred said anytime. So if you're planning on going up there, let me know and I'll jump on a plane.
You set it up and we'll be there.
Okay. All right. Take care, everyone.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.